I've had emetophobia my whole life to some extent, but it really got bad when I was 17. The first week of December, I got a letter in the mail saying that I had gotten into my first choice of college. About a week later, I got the stomach virus, which wasn't that significant, but that association was sealed at that point.
Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. This week's video is all about emetophobia. And in my last video, which I will put in the description below, I kind of share a little bit about my own emetophobia, but I really don't go into depth. In this video, I want to share other experiences, and in my next video, I want to share helpful resources. Just like with all things, we're all different, so we all experience things differently. This is why there are different types of fears that we all have with this phobia.
So my name is Deanna Mullins, and I am a teacher. I teach online for high school students, and I also have a 4-year-old son. For me, emetophobia is more about me vomiting rather than other people doing it, but still seeing someone else do it it makes me very anxious. And even if I know there is no chance of me being sick logically, I will still for days be like, I am definitely going to get sick, and it's going to be horrible, and I'm going to give it to my son, and then I'm going to have to watch him do it.
Having emetophobia can be more than just being afraid of throwing up. We're all different and experience things differently. Some of us may have OCD or OCD tendencies. Some of us may also have other underlying mental health ailments. Emetophobia can mean closely listening into other people's conversations to see if sickness comes up. Emetophobia can mean being super hyper aware of everything in your surroundings at all times when you're in public places. Emetophobia can mean assuming that there's vomit somewhere that maybe there's not. It can mean taking Clorox wipes to places with you, or disinfecting spaces that aren't even in your home. Being afraid to invite people over because they may have been sick. Seeing someone get sick. That could be the only thing that an emetophobe could be afraid of, is just watching other people get sick. Being sick themselves. For me, that's a huge one. I'm more afraid of getting sick than other people getting sick.
It also meant that I didn't pursue educational outlets that I would have previously. I was afraid to go to medical school because of the vomiting, and no matter what field I decided to do, because I started in forensics, that meant I would still have to do a residency somewhere with highly infectious material, right? Dead people were one thing, but the idea of having to be with alive people who could potentially be sick in front of me or contaminate me, it was severe for a very long time.
Being sick in public. Now, this is another fear of mine, and it makes it difficult because I have stomach problems like IBS, which is also a common thing that a lot of us emets share, is that we have these stomach issues like IBS. Some people are afraid to leave the house. Animals being sick can be a huge trigger for some. Family gatherings. Now, this is especially hard during the holidays and the winter months when everyone is in close quarters and we're all spreading germs, but we all still want to get together. Sometimes I flee and run away if someone's been sick, and that's super embarrassing, and I feel really bad. I feel like a bad family member, and it makes me go through this depression spiral where I'm a bad mom, I'm a bad person, and I don't deserve anything. So emetophobia really brings up a lot of other deep-rooted emotions and things about myself that I don't like. And I hear that folks are more afraid of throwing up with this phobia than they are of dying. And that's something that we say in the heightened moment of severe anxiety.
I thought about really bad things and how I could end things frequently, and I still do. I have bipolar disorder, and those thought patterns are tightly ingrained into my neurons at this point.
Some have a difficult time even saying the word, so they'll often refer to it as V or TU. So V as in vomit, TU as in throw up. Winter months are very hard for emetophobic people because people get sick more often in the winter than they do the summer. Doctors' offices can be scary, side effects from medication. Eating out, eating fast food, eating at fancy restaurants can be very difficult for someone with emetophobia. So if I order nothing when I hang out with you, it's not because I'm being rude, it's because I'm afraid. Kids and birth. This is what I want to address more.
For me, it meant I didn't want to have children. I really considered aborting when I found out I was pregnant. Actually, that's how me and Ashley met, is that I got really anxious. I was like, I can't handle this. So I posted on an online forum, and we found out that we didn't live that far apart. And I ended up obviously making it through pregnancy pretty much fine.
We all get sick. It's an inevitable part of life that we really can't avoid, and that's difficult for a lot of us to accept, including me. Hi, yeah, I'm terrified of being sick. It's hard for some people with emetophobia to make the decision to have children because of this fear. They're either afraid of the child getting sick, they're either afraid of pregnancy, and maybe even birth. This was difficult for me with both pregnancies. It was exhausting. Whenever I would feel nauseous, I was afraid to move. I was afraid to use the bathroom sometimes. I was afraid of every little pain and twinge in my stomach, and that's like always. Even when I'm not pregnant, I'm afraid of gas pains. But when I was pregnant, it was even worse. I would still go out and go places because I can't stay in the house for long. I get cabin fever really easily. Whenever waves of nausea would hit me, I would instantly have an anxiety attack, and I still do that. But when you're pregnant and you're having like all day sickness, it's even worse. Some things that helped get me by were bubbly drinks like carbonated water or real ginger ale, and gum, mints, Preggy Pops, anything like that, like common things that people suggest. But it didn't take away the nausea fully. During birth, sometimes when we hit transition, we know that one of the symptoms of transition is vomiting or an upset stomach. I was definitely more afraid of throwing up with both births than I was actual birth, but I did fear birth tremendously. So I don't know if you can imagine being super afraid of birth and being even more afraid of something else. I did not throw up with either pregnancy or birth. These things are hard for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't even think twice about most of these things. And that's a good reason why emetophobia is so exhausting, because we're constantly thinking about all of these things. We're constantly counting our next steps. Honestly though, this phobia is really embarrassing, and I think that's why it's not so commonly talked about, and when it's looked up, not many therapists deal with this phobia. I think because those of us who have it are so scared to talk about it. And that's understanding, because I've been in plenty of embarrassing situations because of this phobia. This phobia is also scary because of the fear itself. Again, the fear of it seems so silly, but it's real. I don't think that I'll ever be healed or completely cured of this phobia, but my goal is to learn to accept it and to live with it in a way where it doesn't completely rule every aspect of my life.
But about 2 years ago, I started taking an antidepressant called sertraline, and it made me very, very sick, because I didn't know you couldn't take an SSRI with a danzatron, Zofran, because of serotonin sickness, which is very rare, but I ended up getting very sick, to the point that like I was having complete psychosis. I got off the medication, obviously, but in the weeks following, I saw that my son was having anxieties about being sick. Like, he will ask me, "Mama, is this good to eat?" Or, "If I cough, am I going to throw up? What do I do if I'm going to throw up?" And that was impactful. Then my son got the stomach virus maybe about 6 months later. When he started puking, I ran. I started to run down the hall, and he cried, "Mommy, don't leave me." So I didn't. And I really think that I wanted to mention this mostly because since that point, when I just was like, I cannot possibly do this to my child, I actually don't deal with it on a day-to-day basis anymore. So I don't mind feeling nauseous. It's pretty frequent for me to feel nauseous in response to anxiety, and I can identify anxiety more easily because of it. And it's also reminded me that even if I do feel incredibly anxious, and then it affects my mood, that I just have to deal with my actions. So I am thankful that it no longer impacts my daily life, even though it is persistent. I'm really glad that Ashley put this out there because there are a lot of women's health problems. I'm sure you are aware that emetophobia is considered to be mostly women's phobia, therefore it doesn't get a whole lot of attention. I think it's more important to talk about it in the sense of it's real and the symptoms are real, and that it should be considered an actual women's health problem, but also that you can get past it, as many moms I'm sure have over years of having it and dealing with it. But thank you.
I will get on with therapies and ways to cope and manage this fear in my next video. Let me know how I'm doing in the comments. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you'd like, and I'll see you next time.